go to the senior membership. Am I audible now? I hope it's okay. Why we should go into a senior membership? So one, of course, is recognition. The professional recognition that you get from your peers for technical and professional excellence. You'll be known as a senior member of IEEE, and that in itself is a recognition. Then there is leadership eligibility. You know that some of the positions in volunteer positions in IEEE can be had only if you're a senior member. But most are open to members. I'm talking of things like art and directorship, for example, is open only to senior memberships. And by default, if you see all the all the people who are in the board of directors due to some reason, like for example, the art and director is ex officio in the board of IEEE, MGA. So he has to be a senior member. Many of the committees also have senior membership. For example, the humanitarian committee, you have to be a senior member to be the chair of the humanitarian committee. So it is littered all around, and I tried to collect it. I'm not, I mean, it has to be done. It's not available in one place, but whenever you go for applying for a position, you'll come to know that it is reserved for senior members. So that's one reason why you should have. Then if you want to become an IEEE fellow, you have to be a senior member. In the fellows bylaw of 1042, it says the nominee shall hold senior member grade at the time the nomination is submitted. So that means that you have to be a senior member to get into fellows. Sometimes we get urgent requests for senior membership. And some of them are from people who would like to apply for a fellow. They'll say that we need this urgently. Can you look at it and say whether you can accept it? So these are the fellow eligibility. Then what you get is this attractive senior member plaque. So it's a wooden engraved and a golden cloth. There was a picture here, I don't know where in the presentation mode it is missing, but it's a nice and beautiful plaque. You can put it on your office desk or hang it in your company so as to let people know that you have become a senior member. So it's a very attractive one. Oh, it comes up. There's some animation there. Okay, so this is the plaque, and it looks nice. I've got one here at home. It looks nice here. Many sections and societies make announcements in their newsletter and other communications on new senior members. So whenever a member becomes a senior member, many of the sections and societies make the announcement. I think we should also, I mean, Kerala section, I'm not sure whether they do, but we should make the announcements there in this. Now, senior member review panel is a panel which reviews other senior member applications. There's a lot of, people wanting to be in the review panel also and to volunteer their services for the review panel. So those who become senior members, only they will be able to do peer reviews of other senior members. So that review panel is a opportunity. And actually, if you go through this presentation, you can have the basics of getting into a review panel. Then you can volunteer yourself to be in the review panel. And whenever the review panel occurs in R10 or in whichever region you are, you can volunteer yourself for that. I'll come more to the review panel slightly later. You can refer other senior member candidates. So senior members require 3 or 2 references. So those can be given by other senior members. Who are only members, they cannot give the references, and non-members cannot. So you can refer other senior members. This is a feature that is used by many people, and many people do not know about it. If you need a letter of commendation from IEEE addressed to your employer, so that your employer knows about your senior membership, you can tell them the email address and the postal address, and they'll send the letter of commendation to the employer. Might affect your career and prospects, etc. You get some $25 worth of society voucher. You can join any society of your choice with this $25. It's once, I don't know how many people will find this useful, but it's been used by many people. Now, let us look at this section. What do they really get? One thing that is highlighted by IEEE is that if you have a section rebate going at $3 for a member, it becomes $4 for a senior member and a fellow. And senior members you can easily get. So it's a very great incentive. And there is a higher retention of members. If you look at this table of retention, the lowest being student members at 26.9, highest being fellow, the senior membership comes very close to that. It's 95%. So for this section, it is a great incentive to promote a lot of people to senior membership. At least they will stay with the section and for IEEE as a whole. Ordinary members about 75%, and this is around 95%. I have not taken life members, and their percentage is also very high. Some details about what you should know to start applying for a senior member. One of the things is, what does IEEE's bylaw state on senior membership? So this is just cut and paste from the bylaw. Mine is only the red highlighting that I've done and the underline and things that I've shown. The senior membership, the grade of senior member is the highest for which an application can be made and shall require reflecting and require experience reflecting professional maturity. That is what is the primary way of looking at this. You should be a professional and a mature member. And that is and to get on to that, how do we measure that you are a mature member? Is for by looking at saying that you have done something good in the IEEE designated fields. We'll later on take a look at what IEEE designated fields are. And then what is said is, let us look at maturity in a different way. The candidate has been in professional practice for at least 10 years. Mind you, need not be an IEEE member. Need be in professional practice for at least 10 years, that you have worked in your profession for at least 10 years. And shall have shown performance over a period of at least 5 of those years. So if you have any long number of years, it's fine. Like if you have had 20 years, but at least for 5 years in your professional practice, you should have shown significant performance. If these two conditions are there, we assume that the member is a mature member and is ready to be upgraded to a senior member. So that is the basis of this bylaw. Now, it says such performances including one or more of the following. How do you measure significant performance? It has to be in one or more of the following: substantial responsibility or achievement in one or more of the IEEE designated fields. This word IEEE designated fields will keep on coming, and we'll look at what it is. Publication of papers, books, or inventions in one or more IEEE designated fields. Now, it has to be a significant performance in publication of papers. It is not your routine work. So it is not that you have spent 10 years and published 10 papers. Well, that is your routine work. As an academician, you have to publish papers. As a researcher, you have to publish papers. There are a few books, very well researched books, very good books, fine. There are some inventions that you have done, you've got some patents, beautiful. These are things that we'll go for. In papers, like if you've had a lot of citations, your H index is quite high, and you know, in well-known journals you have published, well and good. That's a great thing. It is not that I'm just publishing papers. Now, for the industry people, they don't publish papers. So technical direction and management of important work with evidence of accomplishment in one or more IEEE designated fields. Now, that means like you're doing a project in engineering, PES or electrical side. Suppose you have commissioned a generating station, or you have done something wonderful, or software field, you have managed huge projects. Well, that is a great achievement. So C, it goes on to D, recognize contributions to the welfare of professions encompassed by one or more of the designated fields. So in the professions, have you enhanced that profession? Have you created things in that profession? So that is one of the areas. Development or furtherance of important courses in one or more of IEEE. So training people who are into the training field, they can do this, or revising of syllabus of colleges or universities. If you have been a member of that, please highlight that. So these are the things that get you that. Contributions equivalent of those A to E. They didn't want to leave it that, okay, we have just said these things, we could think of only those, but that doesn't mean that you have not been mature or you're not grown up in maturity. So any of the equivalents of A to E in these areas, provided they are substantially advancing the progress. Now, you see these things. If you look at this, there is a lot of uncertainty. There is a lot of subjectivity in saying whether you are in approving the senior membership. So like in all things, like when you approve a paper for a conference, you look at the, there are certain guidelines, but beyond that, there is a subjectivity involved in that. So how do we look at this subjectivity? We'll come to that in a bit. Let me first go on to this IEEE designated fields. Here also there is a broad variety. Engineering, well, that is the primary designated field. Or most IEEE members that I know of are engineers. Computer science and information technology. So there are many who are professionally into computer science and information technology who have come through other areas other than probably engineering, or both. They are engineers and who are into the computer science field. Next is interesting, biological and medical sciences. We have got a few doctors in IEEE, even in Kerala section, I believe there are a few. So biological and medical sciences has also been incorporated, but I'm sure the people who are joining into IEEE after paying its fees, etc., are people who are interested in IEEE areas of core areas, engineering and other areas, mathematics, physical sciences. Then it opens the gates to anybody practically. Technical communication, people who are teachers of technology, education, people who are in education, management, law and policy related to engineering and things like that. So the field is quite broad open, but you have to be a member of IEEE to become a senior member. So in other fields, I'm not sure how many are there, but I've seen some of the people there. Okay, let us recapitulate the bylaw, which is significant for this senior membership. A candidate shall be an engineer, scientist, educator, technical executive, or originator in IEEE designated fields. Now, you know what is IEEE designated fields? You can be any of these. Professional practice for at least 10 years. See, what is meant is this, that it is a professional practice. I've seen many applications which say significant performance. I've been a volunteer for so many years. Finishing. It is professional practice. How have you advanced your profession? That is far more looked into rather than I have been a volunteer, I've been a section chair, or I've been this, I've been that. That is okay. That is a good contribution. But what is primarily looked at is that you have contributed to your professional practice. And significant performance, at least 5 years on that A to F fields that you have seen. Areas, performance in those areas that you have seen. So these are the simple things. Now, I came to the other thing that I talked of a bit earlier, that this is subjective. So how do you remove how do you do a selection process in a subjective area? Just like IEEE does always, we have a review panel. So senior member or higher grade members are members of this review panel. The review panel meets 6 or more times a year at various locations around the world. Yes, this year has been an exception, but otherwise the panels try to meet in each of the regions. It cannot cover one entire region, 10 regions in one year, because the meetings are 6 or maximum 7. So we meet in 6 of the regions this year. Next year we'll meet in the ones we have not met. So it goes in that cycle. So there is this review panel. The review panel consists of like 30 to 50 senior members, fellows, and others who sit and review each of the applications and says that this may be approved. And finally, all the applications come to me and approve. I cannot look at all the 600. I look at most of them who are falling in areas where there is difficulty, or those people who have been not accepted. I really see whether all the conditions that we should not, I mean, we can err on the side of allowing somebody to be a senior member, but other side, we cannot deny membership to anybody who is a senior member, who is eligible for a senior membership. So I look through all the ones that have been disallowed by the panels. I look through controversial ones where somebody in the panel has approved and somebody has not approved, things like that. So that is the review panel. And the chair of A&A is responsible for the final approval. For those that have been approved by the panel, I just go randomly into maybe 100 out of 1,000, maybe a 10%, and see if everything has been done well. The second way that we try to overcome the subjectivity is through references. Now this panel may be at some place. So this year, the first panel was held in Florida. Now, people in Florida wouldn't know people in India. So they have only the application form to go through. And many of the panelists are very creative also. They go through the internet, type your name, see what you have done, and things like that. But that is all that they have. So we need people who know you. So these are references. So once we get the references plus senior member review panel, we look at all this and we see that, okay, subjectivity can be avoided to a great extent. So going ahead, these are the panel process. I think I told you most of it. The panelists are selected from one region for each panel meeting. So region 1, region 2, region 3 till region 10, because we used to have this physical meeting in that region. We don't want to pay a lot of travel expenses. So we choose in that region. And panels are held in person somewhere in the selected region. This year, we have had one panel meeting in Florida before the pandemic broke out, and then the rest have been online. 2 panelists examine each application. In the online version that we have now, one panelist does not know the decision of the other. If the panelists don't agree, it is sent to a third. And then all the applications are sent to me. If 3 people have looked at an application, then I also look at it. Because there may be a chance that this is a controversial or something on the borderline application. So I take a look at that. So that is how the process goes through. Different chairs may have different processes. So some chair may think of looking at all the applications. Some chairs may say, if 2 people have approved it, I am fine with it. So those are the, from chair to chair, the way that it goes. Now let's come to the core thing, how to apply. And I think I have about 20 minutes left. So you know the conditions, you know who can apply, you know everything. Now let's go into application. First of all, be serious about the application. Many times that we have got rejections has been at places where they have been very casual about it. So to a question of how many years have you worked, some casual number will be given without any substantiation, or if substantial contribution is there, something one, I am so and so, finished. Don't do that. It is a waste of everyone's time. It is a waste of the panelist time. It is a waste of my time. It is a waste of your time. So be serious about your application. That is one of the requests that I'd like to give. As it is, any member can apply. So we are not restricting your application, but be serious about it. Now, first thing that you should do is locate the references first. Many people have a difficulty, other than volunteers, many people have a difficulty in locating senior members. So places where senior members, you meet them, are at IEEE conferences. You go there, you ask people, you're meeting people, you ask them, oh, are you a senior member? Fine. Could you, I've known you for some time. Could you give me a reference? So fine. At the AGM of sections, definitely you will meet senior people. And other gatherings that you have, you can meet. These days I see a lot of people looking out at, in Collabratech, it's an IEEE tool, which all of you are familiar with, or on the social media. Your friends with IEEE people looks appears senior, and you know them otherwise. They are at another location. So you ask them, could you refer me? and find out these references. Another good way is to ask section officials to introduce you to a reference, and then that person can refer you. So these are all methods of references. References seem to be a very difficult area, especially for people who do not attend many of the conferences and all that. Then the next is gather proofs. You have to have this 10-year experience and substantial contribution. If you have some way of having a certificate lying somewhere, you can hunt it up. It's a beautiful thing. It'll be very useful in your application. Update your CV. You have got a CV, you can submit your CV, update it in such a way that it tallies with your experience and your substantial contribution. Update your web presence also. If at a web, someplace you have said something, it should not, contradict your CV, or there may be other reasons why it contradicts to your CV. So keep it okay, because many of the panelists I have known type your name on the web and type IEEE along with it and see what your contributions are. So they do that. So keep your web presence also nice. Update your profile page in IEEE.org. I'll come to that. There are some key things that you should update in your profile page. So go to this link here. It goes to your profile page after logging in. Fine, update your profile page. Then start the application process. Go to this membership senior and then start the application process. Now this is the profile page that you have to go. I've just blanked out some of the areas, but you go to this tab called Profession and Education Information is one of the things that you should be looking at. And it should tally with your exact thing. So employment information, add new employment information and complete the employment information as required. Your universities and colleges, your certifications, update all that so that when the panel members come to your profile page, they know very well that this tallies with the application that you have given. Then you go to the, you have located references, you are ready to go. So you apply now. From the references, you have to get one information, and that is your the membership ID of that person. That has to be got because that is required here for you to invite them for membership. So click on apply now. You will get and there is one more step in between. There's some rules explained, and then you come to this page. So you get a tabbed application form, applicant information, professional experiences, significant performances, attachments, and references. So we'll go through this. So we are here. This is the first tab, and it says, what is the university college? If you have updated your profile, this comes in directly from your profile. So you don't need to update it again. So this is where you fill in your education information and your present occupation. Next, you go to professional experience. This is a tab that you have to do very good justice to. The 10 years or greater of professional experience. So you have to list out all your professional experience. Let me go to if you have got 10 years of professional experience, absolutely no problem. Just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 professional experiences. You got your doctorate in 2010, or you got your MTech in 2010. After that, you have been working in 1 or 2 companies, Go ahead, 10 years of professional experience, no problem, list it. List it with years that show that you have had this. And if you have got any certificates or any proof that you have, not necessary, but if you have, go to the attachments and attach those proofs. So this is a very simple way of doing this. Now, if you don't have a clear 10 years, there are still ways of doing it. So let's go to that. BTech, if you have cleared BTech or equivalent degree as your highest degree, then you get 3 years. So then if you've got a BTech, you need have only 7 years. You must be guessing that all engineers have to have a BTech or an equivalent degree to be a member. You will be surprised that if you have got experience in the designated areas without any degree by the way, you still can be an IEEE member. And 10 years of that, you can get it into a senior membership application. So if you have got a BTech, you get 3 years discount. You need to have only 7 years of experience. If you have MTech as your highest degree, you get 4 years. Add 4 years to your experience. So then you need to have only 6 years experience. But you can't do both. You've got a BTech and MTech. Don't make it 7 years. Okay. You can only make the high, you can take only the degree that you would like. If you like MTech, you take the MTech and get 4 years of equivalent experience. You got doctorate, you get 5 years of equivalent experience. So all you need is 5 years of remaining experience. So you got a doctorate in 2015, you've got 2020, right time to apply. You got an MTech in 2014, right time to apply. You got BTech in 2013, 7 years, good time to apply. Now, this is a big question. This is the only area that we keep on getting questions. So let me go ahead and clarify. It'll take 5 minutes. I hope you enjoy it, but it's a very interesting way that the panelists are told to look at it. And if you want to be a panelist, please understand this in great detail. If you're not putting your BTech or MTech degree for this, rebate in the number of years experience, let me say, and you have got 2010, you are well qualified, everything is okay. You just need to put your 10 years of experience. Beautiful, done. Nothing, clear. You do not need to add any degrees. The panel members will also be very happy. They don't have to look at anything else. Now, if you've got BTech or equivalent plus 7 years, beautiful. You've got it in 2013. Maybe you joined BTech in 2009. 4 years, you got a BTech. I'm sure it's not a restriction. In between, you had a 1 year off or something. You can have a larger 2008 or anything. That's not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this 2013 and 7 years after that, 2020, ready for application. BTech and MTech. 2014, you got MTech and then you got 6 years experience. Beautiful, good time to apply. Fine. Clear, I hope. This is not a very difficult way to see. You got BTech, MTech, PhD, 5 years of experience. Now you'll say, isn't this a bit of a, you started in 2000 and got your PhD in 2015. I've just taken 4 years of calculation for this PhD. I know many people take 5 years, 7 years for their PhD, but I've just taken 4 years for this calculation. And you've got 5 years experience after that. 2020, you can be a senior member without any difficulties. So these are the kinds of people who at 2020 you will see as becoming senior members. This maturity of 10 years of job experience is something that is insisted by IEEE by that bylaw. Okay, so 5 years equivalent is given for PhD and 4 for MTech and 3 for BTech. I hope this is very clear to all of you. Now, there are difficult things that are happening in between. What if kind of question? I've got BTech, I've got MTech, I've got PhD, 5 years, as I've shown before. Now I've got MTech, I've got BTech, I've got MTech, and I was a lecturer in a college or a tutor or whatever designation you have got. You were a 4-year lecturer while you were taking PhD course. Now, PhD, you've got 5 years equivalent, and after PhD, you've got 2 years experience. That counts only to 7 years. Can I not use my 4-year lecturership and get my senior membership? Yes, you can. But there you don't apply for PhD, 5 years of PhD, you apply for MTech, 4 years equivalent, and then you go for 2 years experience for your final experience, plus 4 years experience that you had while working as a lecturer, and you get 10 years. A good trick, isn't it? So you can get 10 years if you have got a PhD and you have been working on the side. I know many people have been. Please apply using this methodology that you claim for only MTech, 4 years lecturership and 2 years experience, 10 years. Please mention your PhD. That is an additional qualification. But for years of experience, please use your MTech and 4 years experience. Similarly, some people have had a job while they were doing part-time MTech. So 2 years job, 4 years. So you had your BTech in 2013, 2 years job, 4 years lecturer, 1 year experience, you get to 10 years. The other ways you do not get there to 10 years so fast. So you can use this. You understand how you can mix and match and get your experience through. So, and there are many other cases also, many here that I can take here also. But you cannot take parallel activities. Like for example, you have had a PhD and you were doing a 4-year lecturership. So you can't take 5 years equivalent of PhD plus 4 years of lecturership plus 1 year of experience, because PhD and lecturership was in parallel. So you cannot use this. You can use your 4 years MTech, 4 years lecturership. I should have put a 5 plus 4, 9 only. This is not a tick here. It's also a cross here. This is right in the sense that you can add up like this, but then you have had only 9 years. So you have to wait for 1 more year for joining the senior membership grade. PhD, 5 years equivalent, plus 1 year experience is equal to 6 years. No, this is correct in the calculation side, but with 6 years, you cannot get a senior membership. Okay, the correctness is the calculation is right, but with these, you cannot get a senior membership. Now look at it in another way. After your BTech, you got a 4 years experience in some job that you did. Probably you were a software engineer, you did that. After 4 years, you decided, let me get an MTech also. So you got an MTech. After MTech, you got interested in PhD, you got a PhD and 1 year experience. You see that your 4 year experience is not in parallel to the PhD or your MTech. So you've got 5 years equivalent because of your PhD, 4 years experience because of the earlier experience, 1 year experience. After your doctorate, you have got a 10 years experience. Yes, this is 10 years and you can apply. So the calculation is right and you can apply. So here, I'm sorry, but this just means that the calculation is right. Okay, let us go ahead with this. Now, please fill in your professional experience looking at these charts. So the senior member panel person is very easily, he can understand this. And if he understands it easily, he'll get you through very clearly. MTech 4 years equivalent, that is what you're claiming. A tutor at some college in parallel to doing my PhD in computer science. 4 years you have taken there, 8 years, and then experience in postdoc at some place. I just written IIT Madras just for wanting a place to be put there. 2 years, 4, and I've got 2 here. I've got 10. Nice. You can have there. Mind you, the easiest one is if you've got a 10-year clear experience after whatever was your final degree, beautiful, go for it. There is no complication. List all your experiences one by other and you have done. Okay. Now, let us go on to significant performance. Professional experience, I hope all of you are very clear. Time is going, I'm moving a bit fast, but this is also very important. And you have seen that A to F, you've shown significant performance over a period. This is one thing that many people don't understand. They talk of significant performance. I've done this, I've done that. You put all your performance, but you have to show that it has been over 5 years. Say you have been in a syllabus improvement committee in 2015. That is for 2015. In 2016, what have you done? In 2017, what have you done? 2018, what have you done? So you have to show significant performance over a period of 5 years, right? So that is never shown. People mistake that and talk of all papers, books, inventions, fine. But we do not know which year you did that. Sometimes we go to your CV, which is an attachment, look at that and understand this 5 years. It will be very great if you can put it right there in that tab, asking for 5 years of significant performance. Fill in the significant performance clearly for advancement of your professional practice, not for IEEE volunteerism, not for volunteering in. There are many other societies, ACM, Computer Society of India, if you are from India, many others. It's not that, it is in your professional practice. In IEEE, you have advanced your professional practice, well and good. That can be put in there. Your volunteerism in IEEE, volunteer contribution IEEE can definitely go there. It enhances your performance. And many people look at that, many panelists say, oh, besides this, he's been IEEE, fantastic. Let us give that, even if he has a small doubt in one of the years of, significant performance in the professional area, but has contributed significantly to a conference or things like that. Beautiful. So that adds to your performance. And then the dates need not be in the immediate past. That's very important. So you're a retired person. You forgot to apply whenever you wanted to apply. You became a life member. You want to become a life senior member. Definitely go ahead and apply. But you don't have a significant performance in the last 5 years. Quote of the significant performance in your whole career. That way, you have done a significant performance and that you really deserve to be a senior member. So please go ahead and apply. Don't hold back saying last 5 years I've not done much. No, nothing like that. Go ahead. Where in your profession you have done something great, please go ahead. Now, all this is subjective. The panel member reviews it. So put your best, what you can put best, put your best items, put more than what you need, minimal amount for 5 years. You know, some people put, oh, this is all. But I know them personally also sometimes. You know, I know that these guys have contributed much more to the industry, or much more to this. So sometimes I hit on the button called defer and type in the thing saying that please input your significant performance. Otherwise, the panelists have said this is a doubtful case. So please do that. So in the first go itself, you will get it. So I type in saying, please put your significant performance and things like that and give it back. I think the time is getting up. So we will get on to the attachments tab, and you attach your detailed CV. It's optional to attach anything, by the way. But if you attach your CV, it will be great, so that in case something is not clear there, we can go to your CV and understand. Brush up your CV before you attach. Many times I've seen 10-year-old CVs attached. That doesn't show your interest or anything. Evidence of significant performance. You can add prices, certificates, recommendations, anything that you want, you can put in there. Evidence of experience. Especially this is important if you are claiming in parallel to the education. In parallel to PhD, if you are claiming that you have been in a lecturer in some university, beautiful. Kindly put that in. Your experience certificate or something that you can put that in. That will be very useful. Any other certifications, IEEE awards, all you can put. Too much is not a problem. Then there are the references tabs. So my earlier advice is itself, choose your referees wisely. I've seen some referees write just half a line and submit. Oh, he is okay for senior membership. Fine. That's all that they write. So get your referees, because this is the second place where we are trying to avoid the subjectivity. The panel members will look at your referees' references that they have given. And if they have not a great idea from the other documents, they say, oh, he's a professor and head of department of something, and he's given this reference. Beautiful. I think he has not submitted well. So I'll go through this and I'll give him. So referees must be encouraged to put your contributions and work and significant performance, especially in the same things, not just saying you are an IEEE volunteer, which is good. Please ask them to say, whenever I talk of this, I see that in my mind, I'm seeing that single line saying I've been an IEEE chair. That is not the primary thing. IEEE volunteer is a good thing, but that is not the primary thing, and that should not be just one line. So, and submit and get done. Don't be afraid. Over 90% of the applicants apply seriously and they get through. Because going through the application process itself, they realize that the application should, I'm not yet okay for the application. So most people who apply are serious applicants and they get through. 90%. Write things honestly and ethically. Please do that. There is no way we can understand whether you are lying through this. But later on, if we come to know about it, if the panelists come to know about it, if other IEEE members come to know about it, it's really a shame. And so please do that very honestly and ethically. Where to ask? This is my last slide, I believe. For more information, to start your application, you can go to the senior member, more than what I have said. Or you can even write to senior member at IEEE.org, senior-member at IEEE.org. They respond. And of course, you can send it to your section membership committee or anyone. You can send it to me. I've not put this emails publicly, but you can ask around, because this is going on YouTube and will be there for a long time. So this is a public email address. So I put that, not put the others. So thank you. Now I'll be moving on to the questions. If the team is ready with the questions. And first of all, I'd like to thank you all. I hope this has been useful to all of you for applying. And I'd like to thank all the people I thanked initially, Kerala section, IEEE A&A committee, the MGA, the staff, and everybody who have been helping. And most importantly, the people who have attended this and who will be applying. I request you to go ahead and apply. There's lots of people are from India and RTEN. Being from Kerala, India, RTEN, and IEEE, I'd like all of you to apply for this enhancement of grade. And those people who have attended this panel and who are already senior members and who have understood the rules and regulations, you can apply to the same email address that I have shown you for being a part of the panel. And they will, for each panel, they take region wise. So in 10 panels, you should get an invitation to be a member of the panel. So thanks. Let me go on to the questions.
Thank you so much, sir, for the insightful session. It was a comprehensive presentation that most of the questions that the audience have asked have stayed irrelevant by the end of your session, because they have already covered in your session. Anyway, we are running short of time. There's a time to take one or two of the questions. I will choose the most relevant ones. So one question is it mandatory to become a senior member to apply for any of the IEEE global leadership roles? That's one. And along with that, I will add one more question. So if our application in case get rejected, when can I apply again? So these are the two most relevant questions that we have found. You have covered most of the other questions which the audience has showed.
Okay, so the first question is yes. And I think probably I said it somewhere in the beginning of my saying that to apply for global positions, many of the positions are reserved for senior members, particularly MGA board, IEEE board, TAB board, etc. are reserved for senior members. So you need to apply. There are, and then there are committees like the humanitarian committee, for example, which I know well because I've been the chair. The humanitarian committee requires that you be a senior member. There are many committees where an ordinary member can be, and to be members of these committees, you can be ordinary member, but to be the chair, you require to be a senior member. So that is one of the advantages of being. So suddenly when you are in a position to be a region director, and suddenly you find that you're not a senior member and the process takes a long time to be a senior member, don't get caught out on that. So be a senior member as early as possible. And the second question is, can you repeat that again?
So this second question is, if I get rejected, then when can I apply again?
Oh, if it gets rejected, you can apply when you feel that the points in your rejection note have been satisfied by you. In many cases, the rejections are just because you didn't fill in the form properly. and the panelists thought that you should reapply. So in such cases, you can apply immediately. But if it is, if it is for reasons other than that, you have to wait for that time. Like for, if you are clear with this, you have to wait. And there is some limit of 3 rejections, after which it has to go to another committee. It cannot be examined by this panel. It has to go to some other committee. So just be careful that you just don't keep on applying after 1 or 2 rejections. Ask the chair of A&A committee, write a mail to them, why was mine rejected? You can also write, each region has an A&A committee member. You can write to the region's A&A committee member. They'll be more forthcoming because they know more about you. Or the section, you can get to know this membership development. Why would this have been rejected? So things like that you can ask. So I think I have covered most of the questions. Thank you. Even now I see participants 208 on the Zoom, and I am sure there should be some in the YouTube channel also. So thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for taking a comprehensive presentation. I would like to thank Amarnath Aja sir for being readily available for the program and for taking time out of his busy schedule to share his knowledge and insights with us. I would also like to thank all the participants for your overwhelming support, which even forced us to switch from our Zoom platform, which has exceeded our Zoom platform, so that we have to host it in the YouTube platform. I would also like to mention Kerala Section Executive Committee, which deserves a special mention for helping with the organizing such initiatives. A special mention goes to the IEEE Appointments and Advancements Committee and its staffs for their support. And last but not the least, I would like to thank all the volunteers behind this program, behind the successful execution of this program, AB, Georgie, Sridev, Alan, to name a few. Thank you all. Thank you for all the participants who have joined us from various parts of the globe. It was great hosting you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.